All right, so Meta just dropped its latest quarterly financial report. And, these things can be super dense, packed with jargon and endless tables. But what we're going to do today is slice right through all that noise. We're going to deconstruct it and tell the real story of what's going on inside one of the biggest, most influential companies on the planet. Let's get into it. Okay, so first things first, before we can even talk about the money, you have to understand the scale we're dealing with. Meta has this metric they call daily active people, or DAP. Now, this isn't just counting accounts. This is their best shot at figuring out how many actual, unique human beings are using one of their apps, Facebook, Insta, Messenger, or WhatsApp, every single day. And that number is, well, it's honestly hard to wrap your head around. In the third quarter of 2025, we're talking about an average of 3.5 billion people every single day. That is nearly half the population of Earth logging in and using their services. Just incredible. But here's a fascinating little detail you find in the fine print. Even Meta is like, look, counting this many people is unbelievably hard. They actually build in a 3% margin of error. So the real number could be off by more than 100 million people, either way. It just shows you the insane logistical challenge of operating at this level. So that massive number just begs the question, right? What does the engine that powers all of this actually look like financially? How in the world do you turn that many eyeballs into that much money? Well, let's pull back the curtain and look at the books. All right, so the heart of the whole operation, the absolute core of the business, is what they call the family of apps. You know them: Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Messenger. This is the engine that makes the whole company go. And that engine runs on a beautifully simple two-part formula. It's really just two levers they can pull. First, how many ads they can show people. They call those impressions. And second, how much they can charge on average for every single one of those ads. That's the game: volume and value. And this is where it gets really powerful. Check this out. In the third quarter, compared to last year, they didn't just pull one lever, they pulled both. They cranked up the number of ads shown by 14%, and at the same time, they were able to charge 10% more for each of those ads. Pushing both up at once, that's how you get explosive growth. And this chart really just hammers the point home. Look at this. Of the $51.2 billion in total revenue for the quarter, a staggering $50.8 billion came from that family of apps. I mean, for all practical purposes, that is the business right now. But here's where the whole story gets a lot more complicated and a lot more interesting. Meta is taking the incredible profits from its social media empire and plowing them into this huge, expensive, and let's be honest, really uncertain bet on the future: the metaverse. I mean, just look at this comparison. It tells you everything you need to know about the company's central tension. In just 3 months, the family of apps, the cash cow, generated over $20 billion in pure profit. Meanwhile, Reality Labs, the metaverse division, lost $4.4 billion. That profitable engine is basically feeding this giant furnace of cash burn. And, Meta is totally open about this. They say it right in their report. This is a long game. They're spending billions on research and development for stuff that might not even be a real product for another decade. It's a massive bet that this will be the next way we all compute and connect. Now, of course, a company this big doesn't just get to operate in a peaceful little bubble. When you're at the top, you attract a ton of attention, and with that comes a lot of challenges. Meta is basically fighting battles on every single front. And they lay it all out themselves. You've got massive regulatory pressure from governments all over the world, with new rules about data and competition. You have incredibly fierce competition in both social media and AI. And on top of that, there's a whole mess of lawsuits and investigations, especially around things like youth safety and data privacy. It's a constant storm they have to navigate. So, given all that, what's the plan for the future? Well, the report makes one thing crystal clear. Besides the metaverse, the other giant bet they're making is on artificial intelligence. And AI isn't some side hustle for them. It's becoming the foundation for everything. They're using it to make their ad targeting smarter, to make their content feeds more engaging, and to build out brand new products. It's an investment to make their current engine run better while also building whatever comes next. And they are absolutely putting their money where their mouth is. The company is planning to spend somewhere between $70 and $72 billion on capital expenditures in 2025. That's the budget for the servers, the data centers, the whole physical infrastructure needed to power their massive AI and metaverse streams. Which brings us right to the big, final question. When you put all the pieces together, this ridiculously profitable social media machine, the billions being poured into reality labs and AI, and this constant storm of risks, it all boils down to this. Is Meta making a genius move, using its profits today to build the platform of tomorrow? Or are we just watching the single most expensive gamble in the history of business play out in real time? I guess we'll have to wait and see.